Okay, in this lecture, we are going to discuss the last conic section, the hyperbola. Let's begin with the definition. So just like with parabolas and ellipses, we define the hyperbola using geometric objects. Again, for the parabola, we use fixed point called the focus and a fixed line called the directrix. For ellipses, we use two fixed points, the foci, and we define the ellipse to be the set of points in the plane such that any point on the ellipse will have the sum of its distances from the foci constant. Now, we almost have the same definition for the hyperbolas with the ellipse, except that instead of having the sum of distances constant, we have the difference of distances constant this time. However, since the difference may be positive or negative, then we stress or use the absolute value of the difference instead. Okay, so let's read the definition here. A hyperbola is a set of all points in a plane, the absolute value of the difference of whose distances from two foci, two fixed points, is a constant. Okay, so let's just see that with the figure here. So here are the two fixed points, the foci, and this is the hyperbola. It has two branches, and P is a point on the hyperbola. And by definition, the distances PF1 and PF2, the absolute value of their difference is a constant, no matter what point or where point P is on the hyperbola. So some anatomy as with our previous two conic sections. Principal axis, same definition as with ellipses. It's the line passing through the foci. So in the figure, it would be this line here. Then the vertices is similarly defined. It is, or they are, the intersection points of that axis with the hyperbola. So these are the vertices of the hyperbola. Transverse axis, similar to ellipses, it's the line segment whose endpoints are the vertices. We call it the major axis for ellipses, but transverse axis for hyperbola. So it's this line segment here from this vertex to this vertex. And then same with ellipses, the center of that axis, the transverse axis, the midpoint of that axis is the center of the hyperbola. And similar notations, A would represent the distance between the center of the hyperbola and a vertex of the hyperbola. Since the center is the midpoint of the transverse axis, it would be, or it would have the same distance from either vertex. So we denote this by A, we denote this by A, so that actually the length of the transverse axis is 2A, just like the length of the major axis of an ellipse is also 2A. C, again, would be the focal distance. Just as with ellipses, it's the distance between the center of the hyperbola and a focus of the hyperbola. So it would be this one in the figure or this one from the center and to a focus. So this is C. Now, we don't have a minor axis for hyperbolas, but we have a parallel definition, uh, which we call the conjugate axis. And we define it first by assigning a length to this axis given by 2b, where b is given by this formula, square root of c squared minus a squared. Well, you don't really have to worry about that since this won't be included in the departmental quiz. However, I want to give you an idea at least of how we came up with the equations of a hyperbola, though we won't be deriving them. I want you to know where these definitions came from. So given 2b here, where b is equal to this quantity, we define the conjugate axis to be this line segment. And its length is 2b. This is b, this is b, just like the minor axis of the ellipse, whose length is 2b. But here, b is defined to be square root of c squared minus a squared. Its midpoint is also the center of the hyperbola, and it's perpendicular to the transverse axis. Okay, so this is the conjugate axis. Now, the endpoints of the conjugate axis, it's just a line segment, are called the covertices, just like with ellipses. Okay, remember, for ellipses, the vertices are the endpoints of the major axis, while the covertices are the endpoints of the minor axis. Now, for hyperbolas, the vertices are the endpoints also of the transverse axis, and the covertices are the endpoints of the conjugate axis. Now, what is the auxiliary rectangle? The auxiliary rectangle is used to help us sketch the hyperbola. Because once we have drawn the auxiliary rectangle, we just draw the lines here that contain the diagonals of that rectangle, and we make the hyperbola asymptotic to those lines. That's why they're called asymptotes. And this would not be hard because all we have to do is draw the auxiliary rectangle by just using the transverse axis and conjugate axis as guides. So it would not be hard to really draw the auxiliary rectangle and thus also the asymptotes. But as I have said, okay, since we have trimmed a lot of topics under modules 1 and 2, then we won't be discussing an example on sketching the graph of a hyperbola. So let's have the equations in standard form. And just as with ellipses, we have the constant difference in the definition of the hyperbola equal to 2a. For ellipses, recall that the constant sum of distances is 2a, equal to the length of the major axis. So it turns out that the constant difference is equal to the length of the transverse axis of the hyperbola. So with that, actually, this will not be shown, but with that, we can derive the equation, of hyperbola, okay? So we have a similar equation, except that, okay, we have a minus instead of a plus. For ellipses, we have x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. Now, for hyperbolas, we would have minus, okay, y squared over b squared equals 1. And this applies for a hyperbola with center at the origin and transverse axis horizontal. Just remember that for horizontal hyperbola with horizontal transverse axis, the a is under the x always, or the a squared is under the x squared. Or sorry, rather, it's under the positive variable. Okay, or sorry, let me correct myself. If x squared is the positive variable, then the transverse axis is horizontal. Like in this case, x squared is the positive variable, so the transverse axis is horizontal. If y squared is the positive variable in the equation, given the equation, then the transverse axis will be vertical. Same with this case. Y squared, or y, is the positive one here. Okay, x is the negative, so it's vertical. Now, a squared would always be under the positive variable. Now, a does not have to be necessarily greater than b as with ellipses. So just take note of that. A is always under the positive variable. B is always under the negative variable. Okay, and this one is just the equations for the general case with center at hk. You just replace x by x minus h, y by y minus k. You get the corresponding equations for the general case. Now we won't be, as I've said, doing an example on sketching, so let me skip this part. Okay, let's just have this example where we are supposed to find the center, vertices, and foci of the hyperbola, but we will just do away with finding the vertices and foci, just be finding the center, because once we have the equation standard form, then we also have the center. And this is the general form of the equation of the hyperbola. So we have to convert it to standard forms by completing the squares. So same thing as with ellipses, except that instead of having a plus, you'll be having a minus in the process. So we factor out 25 for the coefficient of y squared and -9 for the coefficient of x squared. We group the x together, the y's together, and the constant to the other side. That's what also we did for ellipses. So we will be having this one. Then once you've factored out 25, you will have y squared minus 8y. Factoring out 25 here, you're left with an 8. And factoring out -9, you'll be having x squared and then minus 4 when you factor out -9, okay, from 36. And then we make these perfect squares. So we add the following: 16. Again, divide this by 2 square, add 16 to this expression. And then add 4 to this expression, divide this by 2, you square it, you get 4. And don't forget, whatever you add or subtract on one side, you should also add and subtract to the other side, or from the other side. So we have actually added 25 times 16, okay, here. And we have subtracted -9 times 4. So we also add those and subtract those from the right-hand side. So we compute this one, it's 225, and then we factor the left-hand side, we have the following. And to write it in standard form, we just make this equal to 1, and so we divide by 225. So dividing, we get this one. You can just verify that. So the equation tells us a lot, actually. We can tell, first of all, where the center is. So the center is at 2, 4. That is by equating each of the factors here to 0. So it should be x first, then y, h, then k. So 2, 4. And then we can also tell what the values of a and b are, though those will not be asked in the quiz. But anyway, just remember that for hyperbolas, a is always under or a squared is always under the positive variable. So this is your a squared. So that makes a equals 3. B squared would be the one always under the negative variable. So b squared equals 25, b equals 5. Moreover, since y is the positive variable in the equation, we can also tell that the orientation of the transverse axis is vertical. Okay, so I won't be doing the part where we find the vertices and the foci. We skip these. So just practice exercises. For these 5 items, just write the equation in standard form. That's by completing the squares and just find the center and try to also give the values of A and B and the orientation of the transverse axis. Okay, that's it.